y'all. It's Ashley with What's Up Under That. I hope you guys had a great week. It's been a good week for me. It's been a really good week for me. Where are we? For those that are participating in Ramadan, congratulations. We are now 2 weeks in? So we got 2 weeks left here. So I've been using this surrender deck a lot just because it's really been helping to give me a sense of clarity and peace with, what it is that I need to be surrendering to. And I think it was the other day I had did a self-care reading for myself, and I asked what were some self-care things I needed to focus on and things like that. Laundry was on there, but me and laundry are not the best of friends. And one of them was do not disturb my social media detox. So I have been actively not only just putting my phone on airplane mode, but turning my phone completely off, because I've noticed with me, when my phone is even on do not disturb, I feel like my energy is still too heavily tied to it, versus when I shut my phone all the way down, my energy is completely disconnected from my phone. And that may sound a little bit weird, y'all, but it's the truth. Because I remember at one point, I would be asleep and people would be needing me, and they would be pulling on my spirit in my sleep. I would feel that shit through my phone. And when I went to check my phone, they messaged me or texted me or whatever, or called me because they needed me. And, over time, I was I really got tired of that shit. So I used to always sleep with my phone turned off, but I've really started to implement that into being a practice again. So we're going to get into it with the coffee and carb pull. What do you need to surrender to the week ahead? Y'all know we are in Mercury's shadow period. We are also getting ready to have a full moon. And that full moon is about to be in Libra. So justice is going to be a theme. Balance. Things are going to be highlighted within your relationships. I'm also hearing, business relationships as well, because that is the focus that Libra highlights. So we're going to see, within your business relationships or interpersonal, because I want to say when I learned about it, I think it's the first through the 6th house is your outside relationships, and then the 7th through the 12th house is your interpersonal. So those that are close to you. So let's see what Spirit says she wants you to surrender within these relationships. The first card that fell out is effortlessness. Stop pushing so hard. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. So if you feel you have been forcing yourself to keep communication up, forcing yourself to just do something, Spirit is saying this connection cannot grow the way it needs to if things are being forced. I'm also hearing it's okay for there to be silence. It's okay for the connection not to have any contact. And something that I've been hearing, all week for myself personally, is don't charge it to my heart, charge it to my head. Everybody is too. Libra also rules the mental space, being an air sign. So it's people have a lot of things mentally that it is that they're sorting through. And, relationships may feel like you may feel like you're being dismissed. And Spirit is saying, this is also a time, because communication has been a heavy thing. This is a heavy time to, be hey, I noticed X, Y, and Z, and it's making me feel like X, Y, and Z. And that was something that I read recently. I can't remember where I read it. It said, when addressing things that are bothering you within your relationships, use statement like, I feel. That means you're holding yourself solely accountable for your feelings, but you're also allowing that person to recognize them. and for those feelings to be addressed and for those feelings to be acknowledged. So Spirit is saying, stop trying so hard. Just let things flow as it should. And, ego is the one here that's like, oh, I have to constantly stay in contact with them. We have to constantly stay connected. And, too, something that it is that I learned from a lot of my friendships, with any friendship, sometimes relationships can go through a period of fast burns. And I learned that from what's the difference between a slow burn and a fast burn with this dating page that I follow. And, it pretty much said when you do a slow burn, it really allows yourself to feel like you're getting to know that person. It really allows you to feel like, damn, I'm really making a connection with this person. I'm giving things breathing room. I'm allowing it to unfold, so to speak. Whereas a fast burn is like, oh my goodness, there's so much hype, there's so much excitement, there's so much energy. And it's like, in all of that being in the forefront, you never really get to know the person. You never really know or understand who that person really is. There may be some things here and there that it is that you're missing with this person, but it also does not allow either of you to really show who you are. It does not allow you to show who you are as a person. And that's the thing, too, Spirit is really showing here, how have we gotten so wrapped up in these relationships that we've lost ourselves? We feel like we have to be in constant communication with these people in order for something to bloom, and it's the same I'm hearing, too, even with friendships. You can't lose sight of who it is that you are. You have to allow yourself to figure things out on your own and who you are as a person, so that you do not fall into this cycle of codependency. And then the last two cards that fell out here, I wouldn't even say fell out, but they just kind of slipped out. Surrender to creativity and, surrender to silence. And the biggest theme I'm noticing with the cards here too is it's yellow and blue. So Spirit is surrender to positive ways of creating. What can you create in this silence? What can you dive into more within? What is it that you can dive into more within yourself? What is it exactly that you are trying to see? Sometimes we need to create space in order to be able to see things clearly. Sometimes we just have to sit in silence. Ego is the one that says, there always has to be stimulation, there always has to be engagement. And Spirit is how do you create room for anything better or anything bigger if you're always talking? If you're always talking, there's nothing new to share. You never know if you're sharing things out of, an inner child wound of, oh, mommy, look at me, look what I can do. Or if you're generally sharing because that's something that you want to share. And I know me personally, that's something that I have a bad habit of dealing with. I even have things right now that I want to post on social media, but I'm really allowing myself to sit with it and enjoy it because, my brother and my sister are 15 years older than me. So it's it's a very big ass age gap. And, even within that, with that big age gap, I feel like I deal with only child syndrome. So it's I played alone a lot, but I always wanted to share myself or just, share my gifts or share the things that I could do. But in me doing that didn't allow people to get to know me as a person. People saw me for my gifts and not, genuinely the type of person who I was. So too, that can also be a theme here, taking a step back, taking away the gifts that you give to the world and allowing people to see, do you still really like and love me as a person when I am not giving you anything? Because, too oftentimes when we say, what do we like about this person? The attributes that it is that we like about them benefit us. What don't you like about this person that does not benefit you? What is a quality within them that you love that has no benefit to you at all? Now we're going to do one more card here. The last one here is surrender your attachment to results. And this just goes back to the very beginning of surrender to effortlessness. It says the formula of success is to do all you can to make things happen, then let go of the result. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. And I'm over here seeing angel numbers because I'm going to share one more thing with y'all before I get into these next cards. My daughter, my spirit baby, one of the things that she told me is, one of the things that she's here to help me do is just learning to be a better friend. And one of those, it was something else that I was getting ready to say that she probably don't want me to say. She said, because as I went to try and say it, the thought it went away. But, essentially, it kind of reminds me of, it was something that my mom, the type of certain friends that my mom has, and how they have that we can go months without talking, and when we come back together, it was like, nothing ever changed, nothing ever stopped. And I feel like even for me, that is my own lesson in my relationships, because a lot of my friends, just like me, none of my friends are clingy people. Like, we love our space. That's something that I've learned about all my friendships, and that's the biggest lesson. You can't try to force things and constantly being around a person and being in contact, because in the end, the only thing that you're catering to is your ego. The only thing you're catering to is your inner child wounds. And it's like, the more that you're taking that time out to cater to your inner child wounds, when does the adult version of you lead your inner child? And I had this same download a couple days ago with, if you're allowing your inner child to constantly run your life, when do you ever learn to be an adult? That is too really where you growing up as a person, as a friend, just as a human being as a whole, that's really where that growth starts, when you stop allowing your inner child to run when you stop allowing your inner child to run your interpersonal life. And that was something too that I had to learn, because, I've really started to learn and notice that balance between where my higher self is and where my inner child is. And my higher self is what made me realize I do not like people that are very clingy to me. And I think too, part of that reason is because I am an independent person. I'm trying to heal, get out of that whole hyper independent state, and learning a balance between I need to do this myself and I need to ask for help. But, my inner child wanted to help everybody. My inner child wanted to heal everybody because I wanted people to do the same for me. But adult me realized, while healing is our responsibility, if you want help with something, you have to ask. You cannot just keep forming relationships in hopes that they are going to coddle your wounds. You bring those, God brings those people in. You pray for these people. You manifest these people so that they can help heal those parts of you. And I recently made a status about this on Facebook. I was just like, so many of the women that are on my Facebook just don't even realize how much they have helped to heal my inner child, And that's why, to me, why it's important that I have people that are safe and feel okay with being their authentic selves on social media, because it's like, for me, I'm always, what's the word I'm looking for? The content that you intake is how it is that you interpret or learn things about yourself. That's just my personal point of view. And for me, I need people that are authentic. I need people that are self-aware, because I cannot learn from people that just curate their lives. I can't. And I feel like as human beings, we can't learn anything as a whole from people that choose to live curated lives. Like, what can we really learn from that when somebody's not being true? When you don't know, like, that people, just that other people are humans just like you. And it's like, for me, when I have conversations with people, like, I would definitely say my social media and everything around me, let me think about that. Sometimes I feel like social media can be my personal world and my relationships are my interpersonal. And I know that seems a little bit backwards, maybe, I don't know, but that's how I feel. And sometimes I feel like people have to go through that personal world to get to the interpersonal world to really see who you are as a person. And that's even how I feel with my relationship with clients, my relationships with customers. You know, it's one thing if you just buy a product from me. Anybody can buy a product from me, and, you know, they utilize the energy that is within that product to help them. But it's one thing to sit and have a conversation with me. It's one thing to really experience who I am as a person and really see what my thought process is behind the statuses, behind the content, behind the post, you know, so to speak. So, off that little rant, we're gonna pull some more cards here, going to the next portion of this. What does Spirit want you to know? What is coming up for you, being highlighted for you this week? Wisdom. Spirit is saying, just like, and I feel like that transition so effortlessly, be in this world but not of it. Spirit is saying this is really the week to pay attention to your surroundings. This is really the week to just take everything in. And I just heard, you know, I think it's a word from the wise. You hear things more clearly when you pay attention. You're able to take things in and process and filter things out better when you are paying attention. And when you do that, that allows you to really tap into that inner wisdom that it is that you have within yourself. And that goes back to that card, surrender to silence. You know, you may feel guided to do a little hermit mode this week. That's what this week could look like for you. You may be feeling guided to do go hermit mode. And that's another aspect of Libra. You know, Libra is a lot like Taurus when it comes to knowledge and things like that. They go on these little quests in the midst of their hermit modes. They take themselves from the outer world and they bring themselves in, so that when they come back out, they can share that wisdom and share that knowledge. You know, there may be things that it is that you run into or things that it is that you learn this week, but you learn them from detaching from your outside reality and really tapping in with that inner reality. The next card is flow. And I don't know if I want to read this in reverse. I'm going to keep it that way. Spirit is saying this week, you know, things may seem like an uphill battle, or there may be some disruptions. Because I was going to read it up, right side up. Spirit said, no, keep that reverse. Spirit is saying this is a week to go with the flow. And it's not even so much like, you know, like, oh, let me just go with the ease. It's going with the flow of disruptions. You know, there could be disruptions this week, especially within technology, especially within social media. You know, this is a time to step out of the Spirit is saying too, this is a time to step outside of your interpersonal world and step into your personal world for some people. You know, if you feel guided to, this is your sign to really make it a priority to get out the house this week. Make it a priority to get into nature. Like this week is really calling for a lot of stillness is what it is. Like what it is that I'm noticing within these cards. Spirit really wants you to sit with yourself. Sit with the darkness, sit with your shadows. This is not a week to run from it. If you, and Spirit is saying, not sitting with these shadows is only going to prolong things. And while everything happens in divine timing, I do feel like some things, the longer you put it off, the harder it becomes. For example, me doing laundry. The longer I keep putting off doing my laundry, instead of just doing it in small batches, the longer that I keep putting it off, the bigger the pile becomes. And now I'm spending more time doing laundry when I could have been done. So Spirit is saying, do not run from your shadows. Do not run from the things that it is that trigger you. Allow yourself to sit with these things. And then the next card here is happiness. Just like how the card surrender to silence, at the end it says silence can heal and replenish you. When you allow that silence to replenish you, it allows you to really tap in and find the things that it is that make you happy, because Spirit is really breaking us out of this sense of codependency, so we can find and we can see and understand what is it that makes us happy, especially within our relationships. It's also calling for an evaluation of our relationships. Do these relationships make me happy? Do I feel that these relationships, are these relationships serving me? What exactly are they doing for me in this moment? And there's a lot of water, so it's like Spirit is saying the reason to sit in silence is because emotions could be running heavy this week. And the more that you run from emotions, it can start off as like little ripples, and next thing you know, it's tsunamis. And that was the same thing that I was telling myself. I was having this same conversation with myself recently, and I said my issue with a cycle that I need to stop doing is I need to stop allowing my emotions to bottle up, and then just let it happen, and then boom, I'm like, what, that's the final straw. And it's like when you do that, it looks as though to people that you have been collecting evidence. There's a difference between paying attention to people and you collecting things because you are afraid of the outcome. And I know that is something that I have struggled with, and I do still struggle with at times. But we're all a work in progress. We're all human. So yeah. And then the last three cards at the bottom of the deck, right after happiness, we have love, we have fulfillment in reverse, and we have freedom. Spirit is saying, it reminds me of that saying, if you let something go and it comes back, that means it was meant to be there. If you let it go and it doesn't come back, only time will tell what it is to happen. But Spirit is saying this week too, just like I said in the very beginning, it's highlighting you have to stop being so codependent on your relationships and find who you are. And that was another message that I got last week. Spirit was just like, sometimes the reason that you're bored is because the people that are closest to you are living their life. They're out enjoying themselves. They're out gaining experiences, and you're just like, you're sitting and you're waiting for something to come and you're waiting for it to happen. And Spirit is saying, allow what you see others doing to be something that can be equal. Allow what others are doing to be something that can be equally true for you. You can't keep trying to find fulfillment in relationships. If somebody was to ask you, what are your favorite hobbies? Could you tell them right off bat? Spirit is saying even to focus on the blessings of the things that it is that you have. What I heard before I pulled that card out is, sometimes we can focus so much on our inner child wounds. What was something that you wanted to do as a kid that you never got to? I know me personally, This may sound crazy. I wanted to be a paleontologist, and that came up for me again this morning. I wanted to be a paleontologist. I wanted to be a ballet dancer, and I wanted to be an ice skater. Those are 3 things I've always wanted to do. Like, absolutely love to. And I think too, that's why I love, damn it, what is that word for people that like dig up ancient artifacts and stuff like that? I think that's why I'm so interested in all those things. And I love those type of movies. Like, I love The Mummy. I love Jurassic Park. I love uncovering hidden things. It could also be word to Scorpio placements. I have a lot of Scorpio placements. That and Capricorn. So, rediscovering what it is that makes you happy. And also, I'm hearing too, as we end this, with the blessings card being next to surrender your attachment to results. When you allow things to just be, you allow your blessings to flow, and you allow things to flourish. You allow them to open up. So Spirit is saying, stop whatever situation in this moment, whether it be however long you've listened to this podcast, whatever has been on your mind, Spirit is saying, release yourself from it. Release it. Let it out of your mind. And I know a lot of people always say, that's it's easier said than done. But something that I learned in a meditation that I had did is, it's like when you're meditating and a thought comes up, tell it thank you and redirect your thought process back. Sometimes we invest so much time into the thoughts that come up that we don't realize we are the creator of our thoughts. And we can easily... It's a difference between distracting and redirecting. If, say, you have a kid and you're at the zoo and you see ahead of time their favorite animal is not there today. So you can either distract and be like, hey, do you want candy? Hey, do you want this? Hey, do you want that? That doesn't solve the issue. But if you're like, hey, this isn't here today, but would you like to go and see something else? And then that's what it is. That's essentially what it is that you have to do to your mind. That thought, you have a negative thought like, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm never going to do that. And then you're just like, okay, let's redirect it to, where am I at in this process? Is there anything that requires my attention? Is there anything that it is that I can do? And if there's nothing that you can do, there is no sense in constantly telling yourself, this is never going to happen, because results do not happen overnight. The same day that you plant the seed is not the same day that you will bear the fruit. Which goes back again to that surrender your attachment to results. Let things flow and happen as they should, and everything will be okay. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Do not forget, if you want to book a personal, if this reading hit home and you want to book a personal reading with me, this week is your last chance to, because I currently have a 30% off sale on all of my readings, excluding picture readings and messages from Spirit. If you're not ready to invest in a full reading yet and you want to hear what your Spirit has to tell you, book a message from Spirit. If you don't know what you need, book a consultation. That is under Oracle consultation. So, you guys have a fabulous week, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.